Hey guys, welcome to yet another video of the Pits to Podium channel. We are happy to present to you Formula One in the build up to the 2020 Formula One season. We've had the longest off season in recent times, so Soumil and I are here to entertain you and discuss some really important topics. Keep coming from the paddock. Soumil, how are you doing?
Oh, well, pretty well, Kunal. Thank you so much for asking. How are you doing, guys? It's been a really long off season, this one. And hopefully, once we get the racing action back, we should be having a lot of fun. But before that, we've got a really fun topic to discuss, and that is the matter of Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. Now, two of these world champions seem to be out of work at this stage because, of course, Vettel has been kicked out by Ferrari. Kicked out is a bit of a harsh word, but let's say mutually decided to end their agreement. And Alonso, of course, has been out of F1 since 2019. So, Kunal, the talk of the town is that these two guys, I mean, either of these two could be going to Renault. How much of this is true, and could this be a good move for either of them?
Personally, I think it's just a lot of PR. I would be highly surprised if either of them actually land up in Renault, land up in a seat that Daniel Ricciardo of all the people decided to vacate, right? So that's my gut feeling. But at the same time, the question we're going to try and address in this video is, would it actually make sense to join a team like Renault, given the
Absolutely.
rule changes, budget caps, and so on that have been announced in the world of Formula One? What do you think, Soumil?
It's a tricky one, this, because in the last couple of years, normally you join a team looking at their past performances, and you can't really say the same about Renault. Of course, their past statistics are just, let's say, dismal, to say the least, for a manufacturer pumping in so much money. And the prospects don't really seem to be too bright. But that said, with the new regulations coming in and with a more even playing field, I think things could go in the way of Renault. Of course, they've recently only committed to Formula One in the long term, and that can be in part because of the heavy bailout package that they've got from the French government as well. But I think, frankly, it's a bit of a tricky scenario. Although on one side, you look at Renault's results and you think, okay, maybe this is not the team for the long term. And of course, with someone like Daniel Ricciardo leaving for a team literally on the vertical scale, like McLaren, who's also in the midfield, that is a major vote of no confidence in them. But that said, with the new regulations coming in and the new Concord agreement coming in too, the revenue models can be a bit more diversified, can be a bit more equal. And of course, Renault has the ability to attract some good engineers. After all, they're a manufacturer team. So maybe they just be with that one side in these drivers thinking, okay, perhaps this team can go forward. But again, Fernando Alonso, I think it's a bit unlikely because we've seen him actually go on a long time at McLaren saying that he doesn't want to be a part of a midfield team. And it's a bit too frustrating. But for Sebastian, I think the only way for him to come back to the top would be to try and take a midfield team up there. Mercedes are not going to offer him the job. Of course, they want to keep stability. Red Bull don't really go outside apart from the driver academy. So the only way left is to try and build up a midfield team to the top. And Renault at this stage looks like the smartest option. But Kunal, according to you, do you think you would like to go there? Because Vettel has long been someone who said that he doesn't really care about the legacy he leaves behind. So he may be doing something like a sabbatical like Alain Prost did back in 1992.
One doesn't know what Vettel could do, and one also doesn't
True.
know what Fernando Alonso would end up doing. But if these two gentlemen, or either of these two gentlemen, if they decide to take in the step to join Renault and try and resurrect the team and so on, I think the one thing that they'll be riding on a lot is hope. They would hope that
Oh,
Renault, remains
definitely.
committed to Formula One. They've been wavering in their commitment. They've exited and re-entered several times. They would hope that Renault is finally able to come on top of the hybrid turbo, regulations, because since the introduction of the V6 hybrid turbo power units, Renault is no longer the best engine, in the paddock.
Absolutely.
It's as slow as the third fastest, or as slow as the fourth fastest, or the slowest power unit. So one doesn't know if that's the hope that you join with, that they are able to make progressions. The second, of course, then being that the fact that the budget cap would mean that Renault would be smarter in the way they use their resources, and they are able to sort of put their money behind stuff that genuinely makes the car go quicker. So that could be one. And then the last one, which I think is one element which will let drivers take a little bit more risk, with regards to their team movements in the future, is the whole sliding scale aero restrictions that we're
Yeah.
going to. Because if Renault are fourth or fifth in the World Championship, say in 2020, which is pretty much where they'll be, they will actually get more time in the wind tunnel, starting 2021 and so on and so forth, right? So the extra development time might just be one of the reasons why somebody would say, okay, you know
True.
what, I'm going to take a punt for a couple of seasons and see where this lands me up. So it's a little risky. It's probably more risky than it's ever been before, especially since these two former world champions are also older world champions. So it'll be interesting to see who Renault actually are able to put in that second seat.
Absolutely. And there have been a lot of claims saying that Renault perhaps should go for a younger driver. They've got a big pool of academy drivers to choose from, the likes of Lundgaard, Guan Yuzhu, and so many other talented drivers who haven't really graduated. I mean, in fact, Renault's driver academy, they haven't really produced even a single graduate apart from Grosjean to come in and do something in Formula One. So again, there's a question of questioning the sort of investment that they've put into the driver academy. So saying that if you actually wanted to put an elder driver like an Alonso or a Vettel into the picture, why did you invest into the academy in the first place? So that is another thing that they must also be looking forward for. And Kunal, another point that I'd love to bring up is the fact that they've just recently got a major bailout package. And say someone like a Fernando Alonso and a Sebastian Vettel, they'll set you back a huge amount of money. So with over 1,000 people losing their jobs at Renault, would it really make sense for them to pump in such 7-8 figure sums into drivers that can actually guarantee them success?
I mean, you're right in every way to say that, the biggest question about Renault has always been how long will they stay in Formula One, right? And that's always been the major challenge. If Fernando Alonso comes back, it's going to be like his third stint with the team. Okay,
Yeah.
and if Vettel goes there, I'm not sure what to expect out there. But we'll see where it goes because, Cyril Abiteboul has said that they're in no hurry to decide their second driver. And it might well be that, as the 2020 Formula One season starts, that they might look at their options and make an announcement. So will it be an older, bigger brand name of a driver like Alonso or Vettel, or will it be somebody from their junior driver academy? It waits to be seen. But thanks so much, guys, for tuning into this video. And we will see you at another video. If you have any comments on topics that you would like to see us discuss, leave them below and we will try our best. Adios.
Bye-bye.